Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday live stream. We got a lot of things to go over. Let's just jump right into it. So this is all about diversification and a little bit of risk management as well. Now, before we go on, I have to stress that the majority of my portfolio is Bitcoin. However, I think there is some place for some altcoins moving forward. Now, this all depends on when you want to get in. I can't tell you when to get in. You can wait definitely as we see that Bitcoin dominance goes up and the Bitcoin altcoin pairs, the Bitcoin Ethereum goes to a certain level. That's great. But I want you to keep these things in mind because there is a shift going on. We started to talk about this yesterday. But today, I talk about an article from Matt Hogan. Matt is the Chief Investment Officer at Bitwise, co-founder of Future Proof, CEO of ETF.com. And he put this out to his shareholders. And he talks about something's happening here. This was July 8th. Today is, the 9th? So just yesterday. Matter of fact, as we were talking about this yesterday, as far as the changes that are going on with alts, specifically Ethereum. This is what he says, and I thought it was very interesting. He talks about tokenization is here. How soon will it impact crypto prices? Robinhood and Kraken debuted tokenized stock trading almost at the same time. Robinhood was last week. Kraken was the week before. Robinhood's system, again, a multi-billion-dollar company, publicly traded, is built on Arbitrum, a layer 2 network on Ethereum. Kraken's X-Stocks system is built on Solana, which is pretty interesting and pretty good to do, especially if you're in the EU or other parts of the world where stocks may not be privy to you and you would like to get into stocks, especially the American side. And now you can, looks like, for both areas. Why the impact on price may start, he says now, but I'm going to say sooner rather than later. And the primary reason is that the market for tokenization is enormous. Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock and arguably the most important person in asset management, wrote in his shareholder letter this year, every stock, every bond, every fund, every asset can be tokenized. Now, this isn't that it's going to be tokenized, but here's a little thought process, a little thought exercise. Stocks are a $117 trillion market. Let me say that again. Stocks, all stocks in the world, $117 trillion market. Bonds, US bonds, all bonds are a $140 trillion market. That's a quarter of a quadrillion or $257 trillion up for grabs in tokenization wars. Now, does that mean that we're going to start to tokenize $257 trillion? No, that's not what it means. What it means is that there is opportunity for digital assets to expand depending on how we tokenize these assets moving forward. I don't think it's going to be 257, but remember, right now, for posterity, we're looking at, this is July 9th, 2025, we're only at $2.4 trillion as far as the market cap? Correct me in the comment section, but it seems like that is a amazingly, $3.479 trillion market cap, almost $3.5 trillion market cap. And that's how much opportunity there is. So where do you go from here? Well, he recommends the cleanest way to invest in the rise of tokenization is to buy a basket of the top layer 1 blockchains and infrastructures. Plays such as Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Chainlink, etc. And when I saw this article, they just said Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Chainlink. They didn't include this etc. part. So this etc. could be whatever your altcoin is. Maybe it is the missing link. Your altcoin, whatever that is that you're big into, maybe that's what Hogan here is talking about. But he's definitely for sure saying Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Chainlink. If Larry Fink is right, tokenization market could grow over 4,000x in the coming years. Wow. There aren't many markets that can say that. And then the question that I had was this, well, if these are the base case and what potentially we get into, why wouldn't I just stick to Bitcoin? And what if I pick the wrong one? Well, here's an awful thing. Let's say you pick not perfectly and you say, you know what? I pick just Ethereum, right? Because everybody's talking about Ethereum now, it's going to be the greatest thing. Who knows? And then it goes to zero because something comes out, some black swan event, some kind of error in the code, whatever it is, and it just goes to zero. And you're like, well, that's bad because I bought a bunch of Ethereum. I sold all my Bitcoin. I sold everything. I sold my kidneys. And now I have this worthless Ethereum. This is why when I take a look at this, I'm like, why don't we just do it like how VCs do it? Which is go for the safe play. For me, 75% to 80% Bitcoin. That's just me. You can do whatever you want to. And then you diversify like a basket of those layer one solutions, the Ethereum, the Solanas, the Cardanos. Chainlink is also, in my opinion, a layer one solution, Binance Smart Chain, or whatever your altcoin is. And if you have that across a continuum, and then we hit in that, you know, $250 quadrillion market cap for all the tokenization of assets, then even if all the rest of them go to zero, who cares? Because you got the one winner and you just took a look and go, I think this is one. So again, diversify, be safe, risk assessment. I think this could play out pretty nicely. But the question is, well, how's things doing? Well, the Ethereum ETF is actually doing quite well, as a matter of fact. And you will notice here that the big player in the game is BlackRock, and they are continuing to buy. Now they've sold a little bit over time, 19 million roughly, and 46 on 2nd July. But the next day, 85 million, 53, and 25. Today is still the 9th. We don't know what it is, but as far as like a total, it's looking pretty positive. The one that has been dumping on us is, as usual, Grayscale, and that's just how it goes. That is for the Ethereum ETF. BlackRock is holding a massive amount. And then also, as a reminder, I know people say, well, Ethereum sucks, and it's layer one, and it's very slow, and it's very expensive. And you are correct, actually. But this is from Vlad Tenev. He's the CEO of Robinhood. And this was the interesting part. We talked about this yesterday, about where things are going with Robinhood and Arbitrum. But there was a wrinkle that I didn't think about, and this is about private companies. He states, at a recent crypto event, we announced a limited stock token giveaway on OpenAI and SpaceX to eligible customers. That's nothing. That's just like, hey, here's some freebie tokens that aren't worth squat yet. But these are private companies, SpaceX and OpenAI. While it is true that they aren't technically equity, the tokens effectively give retail investors exposure to these private assets. Our giveaway plants a seed for something much bigger, and since the announcement, we've been hearing from many private companies that they are eager to join us in the tokenization revolution. Think about that. There is a market right now, but you have to be an accredited investor or an institution to get into these private companies that are not publicly traded. Wouldn't that be something if you could get into that, because they tokenize the assets of these private companies? But this isn't for me to explain. This is for Vlad. This is him. He's over on Bloomberg Television. This is roughly 1 minute and 23 seconds. I want you to take a listen to this as he talks about it, and you make your decision from here. Make sure you can hear this perfectly. Again, real quick session.
The way tokenization works is we hold the underlying, or it's held by a US broker or other traditional financial business. And then we have a tokenization engine, which basically mints for new tokens when customers acquire them. And if customers want to sell them, we burn the tokens. The mechanism slightly differs depending on the asset, right, whether it's a public stock or a private company. But the intent is for the tokens to be backed by exposure to the underlying asset in pretty much all cases.
So if it's a private company, how are you valuing it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Without getting into the details of private company valuations, there is a secondary market for private assets. And typically that market is institutional or high net worth in nature. So institutional investors, high net worth, are exchanging private shares or private exposure to companies with one another on a negotiated basis. And so what this would do is it would unlock that. So it's not just the high net worth institutional market, but it unlocks it to retail exposure as well. And the innovation, the difficulty has not just been the sort of like accreditation requirements in the US, but it's also been how to get the liquidity. And I think that's where tokenization comes in, because it solves the liquidity problem by tapping into a global network of hundreds of millions of crypto market participants.
Vlad,
That's right. So let me ask you this real quick. Would you be keen on getting into that type of market? These are companies that are private and have not gone public yet. Before you answer that question, actually, I want to ask you this. Would you have liked to gotten into the Circle private company before it had its IPO? Because I will remind you that as it came out, I mean, it started on at $115. But of course, pre-market was much lower than that. Imagine getting into something like this, Circle, which of course was for the stablecoin USDC. And before it went through everything that had to do with the SEC and went public, you could invest in this in some way, shape, or form and then get into it. But you're not an accredited investor. You're not a high net worth asset like what Vlad was talking about. Crypto would allow that to happen. Be more risky, but would you do it? And of course, not too bad, I would think, if you got it at, I don't know, $10, $20, something like that. And then my next question is this. Would you like that to happen before Kraken goes public? This was an article that came out about a month ago. And it talks about how Kraken is looking to go public. Now, wouldn't that be something if we could get into something that we use and we know about and we can invest into? Now, I'm not telling you what to do. Obviously, I'm just saying these are the options that potentially could be put before us. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. And to finish this up, because we talked about, and we just talked a lot about Ethereum and a little bit about Arbitrum, but what Matt Hogan was talking about as far as the basket of digital assets for tokenization, you know, people make fun of it, but Ripple's here. Ripple applies for a U.S. national bank charter as a cryptoized next frontier. And not only that, I found this very interesting. The company is also seeking a Federal Reserve master account that would give it access to the Federal Reserve's payments infrastructure and allow it to hold its stablecoin reserve directly with the central bank. Now, on top of that, XRP is a reminder, which I know a lot of the people in the XRP who love it tell me this all the time. It's part of the ISO 222 or 20,020, however you say it. It's a global standard for electronic data exchange between financial institutions that facilitates a unified language for payments data. It is poised to become the dominant global standard for payments, with an estimated 80% of transactions covered by 2024. 80%. And Ripple has strategically aligned itself with ISO 20022 to enhance its role in the global financial system. And of course, they're also being picked up by 70 different banks across the world. So I know people will make fun of it. It's just a banker's coin, and it's here for the CBDC, which is true. But it is something to take a look at for sure. But then also, what about Solana? I mean, Matt Hogan did talk about it. What about Solana? Solana's another good choice, I think. I mean, for the ETF, just yesterday, 8th of July, it brought in 21 million, which is more than it's ever done, because it's only been around since roughly Thursday. So just yesterday, 21 million for the Rex Osprey, which I believe is a staking ETF. So congratulations, Solana holders. Also, I think this is one of the big things we should pay attention to is who is integrating these digital assets. Is this just some rumor about, oh, they just slapped their name onto an F1 racing car, or do they put it on to some sports arena? Who cares? Tell me which ones are people actually using as utility. Well, this is good. Volkswagen ADMT, whatever that is, chooses Solana-based Hive Mapper to power robo-taxi fleet. If you don't know about Hive Mapper, it allows you to accumulate Hive token as you go through the streets, and then I guess you upload the information just like you do with Google Maps, but they actually pay you for it. So Hive Mapper is like, yeah, we'll join you with Robotaxi and we'll split revenue. That's called adoption. And what's Hive built on? Solana. So that's it for all these things. And of course, Chainlink, I'll just say that everybody needs Chainlink. It's Oracle. You have to pull in outside data. It's pretty good when you're doing like swaps and real world price action. So I think these are all solid choices. But again, I need to stress this. Be safe out there, because there's only so much that you can really get into without being absolutely wrecked. Don't do too much. I've said this before. Do less, make more. Sometimes you don't have to get into every single basket, but there's just something to think about. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. And then to finish up, I need to try to show people and protect everybody as much as I possibly can, because I despise scammers. AI is coming for you. It's coming for your crypto. It's coming from your bank account. It's coming from your data. And I just saw this morning. An imposter uses AI to impersonate Marco Rubio, and they contacted foreign and U.S. officials. Now, I'm not for sure how successful this was and what kind of information was given, but apparently it was very realistic and lifelike. But if they have the gall to do that, Secretary of State for the U.S. government, what else could they be doing? Well, first of all, there's a website. D.A.N teaches crypto, 100% free. It always is. Go to the very first module. There's a link in the description, and watch this video, how to avoid all the scams. Just go to the source. It's very, very simple. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, my friend Wes popped in for a bit from Smart Money Tracking, And he shared with me a script that he wrote, which had my voice and Guy from Coin Bureau, and it matched perfectly as a scam. And he said it only took him like 5 minutes to do. I'm just going to play this real quick. This is about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll jump back with some of your questions that I'm sure you're going to have. So be careful out there. This is a good one. So just like we were talking about with Marco Rubio and what happened with him with AI, which I have to tell you is a disaster waiting to happen. I actually asked my friend Wes over from Smart Money Tracking to come in and talk to us about AI, and he's going to show you how easy it is to create an AI imposter, as he made a exact duplicate of me and Guy from Coin Bureau. Hey Wes, thanks for coming in.
Hey Rob, thanks for having me back on. Looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, because I mean, look, everything's been going pretty good. Who knows how big this next leg up will be? But I don't really think it's that much of a big factor, because if people get screwed out of their funds, then it doesn't really matter. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the space is moving so fast. It's very important to stay on top of this, especially as we've got quantum coming as well. We don't know where this tech's going to go. And yeah, it's not quite there yet, but it's getting very, very good. And I think it's good to stay up to date with what it's capable of.
Yeah, awesome. And this is what's great about having you here, because I don't dabble in this part. Now, for you and everybody else watching the video, there's a link in the description for Wes's main channel over at Smart Money Tracking. You can follow him over on X. I'll have that description there as well. And he is responsible for the Smart Money Indicator, or one of the things that he takes a look at, and we've taken a look at as well, as far as smart money and how they've been getting out. And I got to tell you, Wes had a pretty good call over here, as you can see, as far as stablecoin and the risk appetite, as it bottomed out in November, December, and then it bottomed again in January. And then, of course, here we are going back and forth. But I'll let Wes talk about that on his channel. Today, I want him to show you stuff like this. Now, Wes, you actually made this using AI, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was pretty much made with Grok. Sorry, my screen is blank here. It's got a loading screen. Is this the conversation with 11?
Sorry. Yeah, this is the one. This is D-Day.
Oh, it's D-Day. Okay, so yeah, this was entirely made with VO3. So VO3 is the new software that came out from Google. Really, really good. One of the few platforms that has dialogue as well, which is phenomenal. So I'm an audio engineer, well, was an audio engineer, and I have a degree in audio engineering. So I maybe understand more than a lot of people how hard it is to make Foley, and how hard it is to, even for me as an engineer, it's very hard to create Foley that sounds real. And I don't know how they've managed to nail it, but they've managed to combine sound and video together. So a massive, massive milestone. Many people didn't expect this was going to happen for years. And this is the same thing we keep seeing with AI. We see AI music, AI video, AI characters, AI influencers. It's accelerating so fast. And now we have AI training AI. Yes, it was all made with VO3. I used a Grok and ChatGPT. So what I do is I use a lot of the AIs and then try and see which one's best at creating the cinematic scenes. So I would say, for example, I want to recreate a scene from D-Day. So I'm a big fan of war films, and D-Day, massive event, very sad event. And I wanted to try and capture a lot of the fear and you know, get all the details. I'm not a film maker. I've never made a film before. So AI was phenomenal. It really like captured a lot of the costumes, even it came up with some of the filters to capture some of the design and the emotion at the time. Yeah, it was really good. Some of the scenes you come up with. Look, you see the little American flag flying in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. And you notice how the background is blurred out as well. That's like quite a skillful camera edit for AI to pick up. That is crazy, and really like focus on the characters and stuff. So we're not just seeing AI characters, we're seeing shots, like the shots, the camera movement, the camera panning. Is very clever. The lighting as well. You can see the lighting on Will Smith's face there. So this I made with a completely different generator called, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's called Halo. Yeah, it's called Halo, H-A-I-L-O. Sorry, H-A-I-L-U-O-A-I.
Wow.
Really, really cool. This one I use, I think it's a little bit more decentralized, and you can use celebrities. And I think the others are a little bit too commercial, and you can't really use celebrities. But there seems to be no limits with this one, and I kind of like the idea of just having Hollywood in your pocket, right? You can use any actor you want. Robert De Niro looking very old and grey there, but
well, that's how he looks like in real life. But he's actually looking very realistic. And this types of thing will bring us back, will tie us back to the main story, which is what's happening here. Now, my question is this, is if they can impersonate Marco Rubio, they can impersonate anybody. They can impersonate your mom, they can impersonate your friends, they can impersonate famous people, which is quite easy. So how long did it take to create that video? And how long did it take to create this sample audio that we're going to play in a little bit of me and Guy talking about Pump Fund?
Okay, so the D-Day video took me 8 hours. So from start to finish, I started it in the morning, and then I'd pretty much had it finished with audio by the end of the day. I could have made it 10 times better if I'd have spent like 7 days on it and really finessed the audio. So it's about 3 minutes 50 long. And what I did is I just was running all of them at the same time on different ChatGPTs, and then just let it process, come back, let it process, come back. So yeah, 1 day, it's quite scary that, you know, this was all 1 day, because this would have taken weeks or months in real life, and you can imagine the cost as well. With regards to the clip we're about to show everyone, that took me, it's scary, less than an hour to make this. And I done it all with Grok. So I typed into Grok saying, hey, I want to create an example for the community of how, you know, of a potential scam, and we want to try and entice people into a token that's not legit. And it just came back with a script pretty much immediately. I said there's going to be 2 different characters, and then it gave me each character. And I said one of them has a strong English accent, and the other one is American, bit of a D.A.N. And then it came back with a script, and then I just put it in 11 Labs, and it was done. It might have even been 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
That's insane. So everybody, I'm going to have you guys listen to this, and I want you to realize just how easy it is to impersonate anybody. Here we go. Take a listen. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special live stream from Digital Asset News. I'm Rob, and I'm joined today by Guy from Coin Bureau, a respected voice in the crypto space. Thank you all for tuning in. Guy, it's great to have you here.
Thanks, Rob. It's a pleasure to join you and the Digital Asset News audience. We've got an important opportunity to share with both our communities. So let's get started.
Absolutely. Today's stream is about giving back to you, our viewers who've supported our channels over the years. We have something exclusive to discuss, so please listen carefully.
We've been granted early access to the Pump.Fun Pump token launch, which is set for July 12th. For those unfamiliar, Pump.Fun is a leading token launchpad on the Solana blockchain, having facilitated over 700,000 token deployments. Their native Pump token will power their ecosystem, offering utility like airdrops and premium features. What's unique is that we've secured a discounted price for our communities, lower than the public sale price of 0.004 USDT per token.
Okay, and then it just goes off the rails from there. So you know where this is going to go, right? It's less than 0.004, we're going to be a great deal, blah, 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 blah. So it's not just that, because we've all seen it. But what I wanted to bring Wes is just to see how fast it can be produced. So Wes, just real quick again, that took you, what, you said 2 hours?
Yeah, I think if you really wanted to, you could probably do it in 10, 20 minutes. I mean, if Grok nails it first time, you don't need to make any edits. So you could do it in 10 minutes. But if you really wanted to make a decent one and finesse it, probably an hour, 2 hours max.
And you know, so I think about I'm guessing you got Guy's voice just from the videos that he does, correct?
Yeah, it was literally, that was the basic version as well, by the way, guys. That was, I downloaded a video of of one of his YouTube videos. It was probably 10 minutes, I think, 10 minutes of audio, maybe even less. And it managed to replicate his voice from that clip.
And I think people, like, I'm thinking to myself, well, you know, okay, I just won't deal with anybody who's in the public eye. However, I'm thinking to myself, what about somebody, because hackers are pretty sophisticated these days. You know, there's these SIM swaps that are going on, and they can get into your phone, and they can actually have access to, you know, part of some of your accounts. What if they could get into like your voice message within your phone, pull the voice messages off of that, run some type of AI from your wife, from your husband, from your mom, from your dad, from your brother, whatever else, and just go, okay, now I have it. I'm going to contact this person, say, hey, and they make it up like, hey, just to let you know, I got an accident and I need a quick blah, blah, blah. Can you send me some funds? Can you give me access to this? Can you do this? Do you think that could be a reality at some point, or do you think it's even already happened? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I think that's already happening, and I think that's one of the scams that gets most people, because you don't think twice. Especially imagine you got a voice message and it sounded exactly like your wife from her phone number, or your brother, or someone who needed urgent help. You wouldn't think twice, would you? You know, if it was an email, you'd probably think about it. And your brother urgently needs money in your email. Yeah, but if it was a text on your phone from the number, you know, that's something. Or even their social media account, right? Because a lot of people communicate via social media accounts. That's the other one.
Yeah, I gotta agree. So I will just say like this, with everything that we just talked about, there's a couple of ways to make sure that you don't screw things up, and it's very simple. All you got to do, and like I talk about on my website, there's this thing I say, just go to the source. That's all you got to do to avoid all these scams. Because even if you get a call from somebody, mom, brother, wife, husband, whatever else, immediately hang up. I don't care if it's Brian Armstrong himself from Coinbase going, hey, Wes, good news. I've got 1 Bitcoin for you. Just send me 1 and I'll send you 2 back. Something like that. You immediately hang up. You immediately delete the email. You disregard the DM. You disregard the call. And then you go back to the source. You call back your wife. You call back Wes. You call back your brother and go, hey, did you need $1,000? That's all you got to do. Because some people will say, you know, what I'll do is I'll just ask my wife like a specific question that we've come together. You can do that. But I just say, just hang up, delete, disregard, go to the source and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And just always double check the amount of people in my Discord that have been scammed. There's people pretending to be me. There's people pretending to be the moderators, and they copy our same profiles. We try to change our profile pictures and they just copy it straight away. And they even scout new members. When new members come on, they're waiting for the new members to join. They join and then they DM them, and we post in announcements. It's one of the rules, right? You know, do not give your personal details out to anyone. If I DM you asking for information, it's a scam. If any of the moderators ask you for information, it's a scam. So just use some common sense. And if someone rang you in the real world and said, hey, you know, I've got this amazing opportunity, you would hang up the phone. So do it inside crypto, and do it inside Discord, and, you know, try and use some common sense. But it's not always that easy, right? They're getting better. They're very deceiving, and it can happen to even the best of us.
Yeah, I gotta agree. So everybody, that's Wes, thanks for coming on and just kind of like showing us how easy it is, how fast it can be. And that's right now. In a year from now, I think that it won't be scammers making scam videos and audio. It'll be AI making scam videos and scam audio and reproducing. If you think it's bad now, and you hear about these AI agents, imagine what it's going to be in like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. They're going to get you, and it's going to be tough. But again, you guys can find Wes on YouTube. I linked that, and also on X. Wes, is there any place we can find you?
Yeah, so I've just started that new AI channel, guys. So I'm going to be talking on there about all the latest AI developments, all of the latest tech. So if you are interested, head over to the VOverse channel and, you know, follow my journey. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what the channel is going to be about, but we're definitely going to be on the ball with the latest developments and tech, just to make sure we're up to date. And it helps us in the crypto world, right? Because if we understand where that market's going, that often tends to carry over into TradFi and investing as well.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Wes, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Everybody, let's jump back to the live stream.
Nice one.
Okay, so there we are. Again, for that nice possibility of an airdrop, send 1 Bitcoin to, I'm just kidding. So anyhow, that's it for today. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. Now let's get into the little Q&A. I'll answer all your questions. I'm sure there's a bunch of them, and we'll go from there. And actually, before we go to the question, I have to tell you, Alex had a really good point here. He says, those saying it sounds fake, keep in mind we're dealing with a lot of people in this space getting scammed by DMs on Discord and fake email accounts. This is 10,000 times more powerful. I read an article about, you know, the Nairobian prince and why they do that, why they make it so ridiculous. It's because they don't want to deal with smart people. They don't want to deal, well, not just smart. They don't want to deal with people who are savvy and understand scams. They want to deal with people who have not been exposed to that too much and are more trusting, because it's way easier when they have them do the next step and the next step and the next step. So a lot of these videos, I don't think is for us, but I try to educate as many people. It's for the people that will fall for it. And then later when they go and say, I need this extra thing to do, then they screw you out and then they take all your funds. So that's a good point. Let's see. Gas fees, as actually made me laugh. The only person who would sound less crazy through AI filtering happens to be the president of the United States right now. I don't want to talk about this Epstein list, but am I insane to think that we should have released that? And does anybody think that that doesn't exist? Just a quick question. I know it's non-crypto, but just I gotta get off my chest. Meme says, my dad, now 98, never wanted an ATM card and still insists on going to the bank. You know what's great about going to the bank, especially as you get older, or just going out any place, is that you get out of the house. So like, I know like we're trying to like help our parents or our grandparents or whatever else, or like my kid trying to help me, but it actually is a little bit of a social hour for them to get out and do things. Let them do those things. Let them get out and do those things. And of course, it'll keep the bank employee employed, because you know those foot shops that are banks are going under anyhow. So I guess you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. All right, let's see. Joseph, Rob, what's your take on CRT tokens on YouTube, where you can sell shares of your YouTube channel revenue tokens? I think it was, gosh, what was it? A gentleman who was on IRS CRT he was doing a revenue share for his channel, did really well and put it out and said, hey, you guys are going to be a revenue share for everything that I bring into my channel. I would do that. It's just that YouTube doesn't pay squat. So like I would make way more money on the tokens than I would you guys getting any type of dividends back. So I didn't want to do it. Didn't make much sense. Clear channel. Yes, that's right. Tax, the name of the tax guy. Clear Value Tax. That's who it is. Great channel. I love his thumbnails. It's just him looking like this. And that's it. And he gets like 100 billion views. It's amazing. The only thing I can say about this AI stuff is that I hate it. Yeah. I mean, we say that now, but maybe as time goes on, you know, before we get enslaved by Cyberdyne and Skynet, maybe it'll be, you know, really good for productivity. Who knows? I always thought it was interesting is the robots that they created. And I thought to myself, wouldn't that be a great thing for like elderly caregivers? You know, when you can't be there for mom or dad or grandparents, or you can have like a robotic caretaker. I mean, look at how far Optimus has come of Tesla. Now take that out to 5 years and 10 years and just how fast things move, especially now with AI. I think it could really be the next wave of healthcare. And also there was a study out of Yale where they compared, it was a basket of different doctors, and they compared that to an AI opinion of what these actual diagnoses were. And from the doctors to the AI was 90% more correct than the doctors for actually diagnosing patients. So if you think your job is safe, I mean, I don't think it is. I think actually it'd be better. You know how many people actually die in the United States because of medication errors? It's right up there. It's not as high as cardiac conditions or accidents, but I think it's number 3 in the United States. I mean, we could save a lot of people. Hey, Rob, just wondering, where is everyone? I'm just glad the people that are here are not tourists, because I'm not a big fan of them. I mean, I try to be my best, but sometimes I have a short fuse. And I'm just glad that the people who are here are like OGs in the space, like everybody who is in the chats. It's so relaxing. Keeps my stress levels down. So I'm okay with you guys. Disabled, yes. Actually, A1, disabled too, just to help them get things and monitor them. Yeah, exactly. Or people with the mental health conditions, you know, not just physically disabled, but mentally disabled. And how great would that be? AI is a weird one. And you know, we're all in a simulation anyhow, so it doesn't matter. Optimus and Cybercab will dominate. Remember, Tesla has the real world data. That's true. And where are they getting it from? Well, through all of their websites. And there's also this big social media platform called X. Look at that. Aristotle says the 354,000 subscribers, numbers going up. Yeah. That part is true. I don't know how that happened, but I'll take it. Elvis will be on the Epstein list. Retro Beast is here. That's good. I trust an AI doctor than a Western MD any day in historic. Well, especially if we're going to talk about nutrition. That's for sure. Let's see. Holistic doctors is another option. Social risk is in the dumper. So true. RW. I like that. Those initials. Wait, how do we get the airdrop? Where do I send my Bitcoin? It's easy. Just send it to this address. I'll link it later. And I'll send you 2 back plus the airdrop. That is, of course, a joke. Wow. What the hell's going on? How would everybody like to take a peek at some price action, shall we? This is why we're here. Let's see. Well, that's the last 24 hours. Wow. Ethereum's up almost 5%. Nobody cares about Ethereum except me. Holy smokes. Bitcoin's at 110,129. Oh, do you know why? There's a salacious rumor going around that Jerome Powell is going to step down as the Fed chair. And if that happens, then whoever is put in his place, which will be a person who is very sympathetic with the current presidential administration, they will be cutting rates and the money printer will be going burr. So that could be one of the reasons. Who knows? Maybe there's a ceasefire somewhere. Hopefully war has been averted and things are looking pretty good. Hey, this is great. Let's just leave it right there. That's fantastic. Everybody, enjoy the day. You are winners. You stuck around the bear market. You dealt with everybody talking about things going to zero, and your altcoin is doing fantastic. And that's it for today. So look, like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Also, don't forget, check out Wes. He's got a lot of great information. Links in the description. Adios, everybody.